How to grow a Facebook group. Now, at the time I'm making this right now with you, my Facebook group is about 17,000 members. I'm going to show you in this video how we've grown it without sending the annoying DMs that everyone seems to be doing right now. Let's dive in. All right, now I gotta say, I was actually really slow to build a Facebook group. I didn't want to. One of my buddies, Josh Forty, came to me once, and it's his expertise, and he was like, hey, you need a group. And I was like, no. And he's like, come on. I said, fine. So he went and he did it. He built it. He put it together. And I'm blown away what it's done for my business. What I'm going to show you in this video is how you can actually finally use social media to solve your leads problem using these three things. Let's dive in. Strategy number one. Now, if you have tried to make a Facebook group in the past, you know that one of the biggest challenges you'll face is actually naming your group. Naming the group altogether is one of the hardest pieces because you basically have to treat it like a product. It is a product. And I spent 2 days on a whiteboard trying to put together my Facebook group name. And it was hard. It was hard for me because naming things is hard. I mean, it's hard. You can't just say like joinmygroup.com, whatever. You have to name it something that's attractive. And so I spent 2 days doing it, and I remember I was writing. And what I was trying to figure out is you have to understand that these Facebook groups, they're free. They're bottom of your product line and your value ladder. So what you want to do is you want to name it in a way that is attractive. So why is it attractive? What are you trying to attract against? What you're competing against is scrolling. You're competing against people scrolling. You're competing against people's boredom. The reason they get on Facebook, do you get on Facebook for a purpose all the time? Probably not, right? Most don't. I can't remember what the stat is on how we all log in per day, but it's a lot. Okay, we log into Facebook like crazy every single day, multiple times, not even with a purpose. That's what you're competing against. If you're trying to make a Facebook group, that style of social media is very much interruption based because not a lot of people go there with an intent. Facebook's not as intention based as a consumer. Right? People are going there because they want to get distracted. They want to, they just want to check in. Oh, brand new little red notification thing just popped up. There's kind of this mindlessness, right, that can kind of come with just spending time on Facebook and using your time on Facebook. And so that's what you're competing with, which is why the name matters so much. So as a quick example of that, my Facebook group name is The Science of Selling Online. Now, I made up that Facebook group name because I wanted to attract those people, really wide-mouthed name. I want to attract those people who want to sell anything on the internet, right? So don't think of this as your main product, but it is a product. I think of it as a lead gen activity. So the way you name it really, really matters. Now, I'm wearing my shirt right now that says Capitalist Pig, and just the title of this attracts and repels certain people, right? And it's the same thing with your Facebook group. The title of my Facebook group attracts and repels certain people, and it's supposed to. Was that famous saying, if you haven't offended anybody by noon, you're not marketing hard enough, right? You got to take a stance, right? Especially on Facebook. Don't be the broad brushstroke, anyone kind of willy-nilly, anyone and everyone. What you want to do is you want to take a stand. People want to take a stand. I believe it's I think it was Seth Godin that said that we are in a day and age now where people are silently begging to be led. There's never been a time in history where we are de-tribing so much, and people want a tribe. That's what these Facebook groups are and the power of them, and the name you choose needs to repel and attract at the same time. Trick number 2 to having an amazing Facebook group, you have to set group culture up front. Now, one of the easiest ways to do that is to make sure that everyone is on the same vision and the same path. Now, I'm going to say something here, and I want you to, I might lose some followers from saying this, okay? Marketers are drug dealers. Let me talk to you real quick about how the brain works. Okay, you got 4 chemicals in your brain that your brain administers all the time, okay, or at various moments. Okay, the first feel-good chemical, now stick with me, okay? Get a piece of paper out. This is really big because this is what's happening anytime anyone consumes any kind of marketing. Okay, when you log into Facebook, you are in a dopamine heaven, which is the first chemical. The first chemical is the chemical of dopamine. Your brain likes to administer dopamine whenever you get distracted. Do you ever that's the reason why they have the notification thing, right? Mark Zuckerberg even said, I think it was to Congress, yes, we hire addiction specialists for Facebook, right? Now, dopamine is probably the most addictive chemical of the 4. It is the chemical of distraction. Anytime that we look at a notification on our phone, I believe the stat is we look at our phone 72 times a day. each of us 72 times a day, whether or not there's actually a notification there. We just look at it. They call it phantom ringing or whatever, right? Like, we just look with phone. Well, that is, anytime you do that, you're getting dopamine. The second one is the chemical oxytocin. Oxytocin is the chemical of connection. Okay, it is also the one we need the most. It is the one connecting to other people and other individuals. We have to have that chemical. It's the one that makes us fall in love. It's the one, in fact, if we don't get that, we give up relationships. We give up religion. We give up really serious stuff in our lives when we are not getting the connection we need with another human being. Right? Think about this in terms of what I'm saying with Facebook groups. All right, this is not evil. It's how the brain works. All right, I get some people get a complex when I teach this. I can't do this anymore. No, it's already happening in their head. All right. The third chemical is the chemical of serotonin, and serotonin is really the one of status. Status, not in terms of I'm better than you, but self-love, right? Self-identity. That's why I wear the capitalist pig shirt that I'm wearing right now. Identity is huge, right? If you want to have people love your group, you need to give them an identity when they join the group. What's the identity I give my people when they join my group and my community? Capitalist pigs. I do that on purpose. Serotonin, baby. Okay. Fourth one is endorphins. And endorphins is the chemical where it's the chemical of work reward. So if you are on a run, like the first little bit of a run and it kind of stinks and then you get that runner's high, that is specifically endorphins, not the others. It is endorphins. And so one of the ways that we'll do that is by having people do small things inside the group and they get endorphins and they feel good. Have you ever done a to-do list thing during the day that was actually not on your list? So you wrote it and then crossed it out immediately just so you could get the feel goods. That's endorphins. That is the one, right? We want that feel good. Every one of us has done that. Okay, so I'm telling you this because if we're talking about group culture, one of the ways that we do this, you have to understand how the brain works. Dopamine, give them some distraction. Oxytocin, connect with them. Right? Serotonin, give them some status and an identity. Right? Endorphins, work reward. Get them doing things inside the group. So the way we'll do that is we'll do, in fact, she's such a good friend of mine. She's amazing. Her name's Allison Prince. She's got a huge e-com community and on the internet, and she's awesome. But we were talking, and she's like, yeah, I actually hire someone to engage every day. We make a post every day. We email out to that group every day. We do a really value-based Facebook Live into that group every day. There's nurturing involved. Having a group is a lot of work. There's some people I know that have just like lots and lots of groups, but none of them are amazing because there's a lot of work to maintain a really good Facebook group. Before I show you number 3, which is the easiest way to pull all this stuff off, subscribe. Hit the like button. If you hate what I'm saying right now, hit the dislike button. I don't care, just give me feedback. Down in the comments down below, though, I would love to know what some of the coolest group community things are that you see the group owners doing. It's not easy to own a group. And if you own a group, feel free to talk about it down below. YouTube doesn't let us put links, but you can talk about it down below, and I'd love to see what group you're running. All right, the third tip to growing like a really awesome Facebook group is actually really simple. It is onboarding. At ClickFunnels, when I worked at ClickFunnels, one of the things that has been so impactful, one of my good friends, his name is Robbie Summers, and he's one of Russell's top sales guys. And one of the first things Robbie did when he came in and he started working for ClickFunnels again, is all he did was he started calling every person who signed up. That's it. All they did was just call each person who got a trial of ClickFunnels, and their churn rate, the cancellation rate plummeted just for a phone call. And we started taking that same concept. We're like, that's really fascinating that it's just a call. Like, that's it. Nothing else. There's no coaching happening on it. It's literally just a how do you do? How are you? You got what you need? Sweet. And it just dropped like crazy. The same concept, though, can be used in every single one of your products, and especially inside of Facebook groups. So whenever there's a Facebook group, one of my other buddies, he's got this very, very specific Facebook onboarding process. And when you join his Facebook group, they send you an email with a welcome thing. Welcome to the group. We're so excited to have you. Please go introduce yourself in the group. Okay. Also, just so you know, this entire group is dedicated to going to X goal. So this is a really important time because people need to know this is not just some other willy-nilly group. There is a purpose There's a reason for them to give their attention to you versus the other billions of ways they could do it, infinite ways they could do it, right? And so by saying, here's where we're going, and when you hit this threshold, please come talk about it in the group. Oh, by the way, did you know that there's a free 5-day little mini course right here? You should just go take it. It'll help you get the XYZ goal you've joined this group for. Like, that kind of onboarding process is really huge. So we tackle that in a couple different ways. The first is, I've already mentioned it, is actually an email sequence. And this email sequence says, hey, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Here's some value, some legitimate value they should have paid for. So good, they should have paid for it. Here's some onboarding stuff. We're actually adding in a phone call, actually in 2 days from now. We're adding a phone call into each person who joins our group, just to, how you doing? What's your goals? What are you going for? Why are you in this group? What's the purpose for it? That kind of interaction, stuff that is engaging just outside of the group, is one of the biggest tricks to having an amazing Facebook group. It's engagement for sure in the group, but an added layer of engagement outside of it, but pointed back to the group. Does that make sense? An email going back to the group. Phone call going back to the group. We've dropped voicemails to people's phones going back to the group. That's really big. That piece is really big. And what we found is that people are much more engaged in the group. And let me give you to this another way here. There was a lady who was trying to buy a product from me a few years ago, and she goes, hey, Steven, what guarantee will you give me? How much money are you going to guarantee that I make if I buy your product? What's wrong with that mentality already? I was like, I don't even know who you are. Are you going to do what I tell you to? Like, I don't know. I'm not going to guarantee you anything. She's like, are you serious? I said, yeah, you should probably not join this group. She goes, are you kidding? I said, no. Right? You for it, right? I was like, you're not a good fit for this. Why would I do that? The way that I sell someone my product sets precedence for their attitude in the fulfillment. So if I have to beg somebody to join, I will beg them throughout fulfillment. Same thing is true with the Facebook group. It's still a purchase even though there's no dollar. They're buying with their attention. If you have to beg somebody to join you, you will beg them throughout. If you have to constantly claw and give away more and more and more value and you're bleeding for it, how you let them join your group is what sets precedence for the relationship in the group afterward. That's why I'm so picky on this piece. Hey, if you're trying to grow communities and you want to make a big stamp in this world and you're trying to have a big audience that you can go and sell and do your expertise to, I got a free gift for you. Go to capitalismswag.com. It means you and I are very similar people. Capitalismswag.com, you get a free Capitalist Pig shirt. We just ask that you cover shipping. And we'll send it on out to you, and then we'll send you an invite saying, hey, come join our group so that you can see all this stuff in live action. It's free, and the link is in the description, capitalismswag.com.